Greetings, salutations, and good now. I'm astrologer Kevis Major, doing it major, and this video is going to be quite different. One thing that is particularly interesting with astrology, well, not one thing, but two things, is that we could use, astrology to forecast and, look into the future and try to, make predictions or just try to anticipate the influences that we would experience. Also, it gives us the ability to, have hindsight and to make correlations between, events that happen and planetary alignments, aspects, and, different astrological phenomenon. So today I want to tell you a story about something that happened to me, and then we're going to go through the astrology surrounding the situation. All right, so let's get into it. Yesterday, 6th of February 2025, around 6 p.m. in the evening, I was taking a walk, more like a hike, with a cousin of mine, and we were, hiking or walking in the mountainous areas of, the island that we're on, St. Kitts. And so while walking in the mountains, we saw a farmer, and he was basically tying out one of his bulls or cows. Okay, so he's tying this cow out into the grass to graze, and me and my cousin, see him. And I've seen this bull before, and we usually pass the bull with no issues, no troubles whatsoever. So anyway, we say howdy to, the farmer who was tying out this cow to graze, or putting the cow to graze. And then my cousin was saying, they were having a small conversation. I can't remember what they were saying. And then I walked past ahead while the guy was pulling the bull and having the conversation. And before you know it, I hear lots of ruffling in the grass. And the guy is saying, oh, something like the bull is coming. Now we're in a grassy area, all right? So the grass are a bit high, and before I look up, I just see the bull charging towards me. Yeah. So my immediate reaction was to kind of put my hands out and I guess try to stop the bull, but that wasn't working. The bull just ran straight through, moved my arms, hit me in my stomach, pushed me back a few feet, maybe 3 or 4 feet back. I fell to the ground, hit my leg on a rock, and the bull continued to charge at me. So I just had to get up off the floor quickly and just run through the grass, run up the hill through the grass. And fortunately enough, the bull didn't chase me up the hill. So yeah, it was an eventful experience, to say the least, to be charged by a bull and actually rammed. No, he didn't hit me with the horns. Fortunately, I'm slim. I don't know what happened. The horns weren't real long and sharp or anything. They were cut down and dulled. But yeah, he hit me straight up with his head, and he was so big and strong. Yo, and everything happened so fast. Anyway, so now the day later, I must point out that during the whole ordeal, I was filled with so much adrenaline that I didn't even feel anything. I was just thinking about living to see another day. And so this morning when I woke up, I was in so much discomfort. I sprained the ankle, I have cuts and bruises all over, I have a swollen knee. All right, so I got banged up, a bit. I got banged up a bit. I can't say pretty bad, but I got banged up a bit. Anyway, let's dive into some astrology, because I was interested to, I guess, learn more about, in retrospect or in hindsight, the correlations, what planets, placements, houses should we look at for like accidents, incidents, and so forth. So I went to do a bit of research, and then I went to pull the fact sheet. All right. So when we look at, planets, so involving or surrounding injuries or harm, primarily classically we look at Mars, because Mars is a very aggressive energy signature. It deals with accidents, burn, cuts, and violence. We look at Saturn because Saturn deals with structural issues. So we look at bones and joints, restrictions, and long-term damages. And so I have a sprained ankle, which is a joint, and I could have broken a bone. Like, he could have broken one of my ribs. I think I have a bit of bruising on my stomach as well. We look at Uranus because Uranus deals with sudden changes, unexpected accidents, shocks and breaks. Pluto, of course, doom, gloom, death and destruction, intense transformation, and sometimes fatal injuries or violence. We look at Chiron, the wounded healer, often linked to chronic pain or some significant wounds. Neptune can represent confusion, poisoning, drowning, or hospitalization due to unclear conditions. And then we know the moon, our mood, it indicates vulnerability, emotional distress, or events affecting the body. All right, we also need to look at the houses. The first house is house of self, body, your physique, physical condition. We have the fourth house, foundation, life matters, home. We also have the sixth house that deals with your lifestyle, your daily ins and outs, your health, illnesses, maybe small accidents. And we also have, what else? 8th house. Yes, we have 8th house, life-threatening situations and circumstances, illnesses and death. And we also have the 12th house, hospitalization, hidden enemies and isolation. And we already know the hard aspects classically or traditionally in astrology would be the squares, oppositions, and even the conjunctions, depending on what planets. All right, so I went to look at all of the different placements and try to make it all make sense. And the first one that stood out to me was Chiron in Aries. Right now, Aries is my first house. Chiron being the wounded healer, talking about physical wounds, traumas, and even vulnerabilities. Sometimes the wounds from Chiron could be quite impactful, quite traumatic, or even recurring. So I need to make sure that I really tend to, these current injuries, to make sure that they're not recurring. And, that's something that a revelation, that came to me, but I'm going to touch on that later. Some aspects surrounding this Chiron Aries is a square between Mars. Mars is in Cancer retrograde in my 4th house. Again, that deals with, home, foundation, and just life affairs. And so this is a classic indicator of, injury, especially with the Mars retrograde. It could cause repression or misdirection with energies. And, even when I get down into specific details, because I was with my cousin, we were a bit careless, reckless, a bit distracted. He was telling the man to put his bull somewhere else. And when the guy, paid attention to my cousin, instruction to put his bull somewhere else, that was, the whole initiation for the bull coming, even closer into our direction to even charge after us. You know what I mean? Which will be highlighted when we start to talk about like the Mercury aspects and stuff like this. But, again, this square between Mars and Chiron just makes this whole situation a bit personal, because a family member was involved and my physical body was involved. Mars retrograde in Cancer in the 4th house. I'm just like, family was involved again, but Mars in Cancer is already weakened. Mars doesn't really like to be in Cancer, making it fall, making us prone to just emotional volatility, defensive reactions, or being, a bit indirect or a bit more passive. So I guess I could have been a bit more alert or, energetic to spring out of the way. I don't know. The retrograde motion kind of manifests in like internal tensions or something. So it was a bit of a square off, because in my mind my cousin was like, okay, you could move your bull over, and I was like, why you want to make him move the bull? All right, so let's go forward. I'm just trying to like connect the dots and make it all make sense. We had Mars trining Saturn. So if Saturn deals with, structure, deals with the bones, deals with, things being solidified, then Mars being weakened, bones being weakened, or a sort of regressive, restrictive energy was influencing at the time of the charge by the bull. We have Saturn, Neptune, North Node, and Venus all in the 12th house space. For me, heavy 12th house energy, especially with Saturn and Neptune. And so, hidden dangers, situations that could cause hospitalization or accidents, even stuff that could be confusing, misjudgment. The node speaks towards some sort of karmic lesson. So maybe, something that was fated, something that I needed to experience at that point in time. There's the south node in the sixth house again. So the nodes are linked to some sort of karmic situation, something maybe you need to break free of. And the sixth house again being, health, lifestyle, so exhaustion. So, maybe a bit of overdoing it, or again, fated that I was supposed to have that experience so I could learn something. In the eighth house, you know what I'm saying? My eighth house, I have Scorpio in the eighth house, but there's Lilith, Lot, and Vertex. Now, I haven't really dived much into Lot and Vertex. Sometimes I use Lilith in my astrological, forecast. But Lilith speaks towards nakedness, just being uncomfortable or even risky, extreme situations. It being in Scorpio, being risky when it comes to power, danger, fatality, issues. So I could see that. Vortex talks about fate, or destiny. And so was it fated for that situation to happen? And again, lot of fortune, lot of spirit. That wasn't really fortune. That was, well, I guess I was fortunate. I was quite fortunate, to be fair. So kudos to myself, what I'm saying. Let's dive into like some more aspects surrounding the situation. Again, Sun in Aquarius, Sun was quincunxing Mars, and so this misalignment between, vitality, which is the Sun, and, aggression, physical action, Mars, I guess, caused a bit of carelessness and caused the accident to happen due to poor coordination. Because, I think I had a few seconds to, bust a slip or just get out of the way, but that wasn't the situation. Mercury in Aquarius also was quincunxing Mars, so that kind of highlights miscommunication or a distraction just because of the misalignment. And that is true, because like I should have seen and heard and been more on point. So something reckless happened, and I think I don't know, the guy could have been a bit more careful holding his bowl. We had Sun in Aquarius again, squaring Uranus. Uranus bringing in some sudden, unexpected, unpredictable moments of, shock or disruption. So you could see it, the square is also a difficult aspect. Mercury was squaring Uranus as well. So, impulsive actions or mechanical failure. I don't know if the rope slipped out of his hand or something, or maybe the chain got a bit loose. I don't know what happened. We already talked about Chiron squaring Mars, kind of reinforcing, some kind of physical wound or injuries. Lilith squaring Mars, more uncomfortability. Lilith opposing Chiron, uncomfortability, wounds, primal fears, stuff happening in the past, kind of reoccurring. I mean, I've injured this knee or my knees and ankles because I played sports, right? So I would have injured these stuff before, but injuring them in this capacity, like, not cool, not cool, not cool. Jupiter. I want to say also that Uranus went direct 3 days ago. And so feeling the Uranus direct motion just bringing in a lot of change and showing you that things could change suddenly in the blink of an eye. Just look around and look back around like a bull could be charging at you. Jupiter square Saturn. When I saw this one, it was like Jupiter deals with your expansion. Saturn deals with restriction. And so, Jupiter wants to expand, Saturn wants to restrict. I don't know, man. Like, some of those transits were, I guess, not as potent as others, but still, Jupiter squaring Saturn. Saturn is in Pisces, that deals with, I guess, unseen enemies, being hospitalized, you know what I'm saying? Also deals with the bones. So the bones, being highlighted, being expanded, being moved, being shattered or something, being swollen, Jupiter expansion, so the swelling of the bones. Okay. Mars also was trining Saturn. Mars being in Cancer retrograde, fallen, weekend, so not as energetic, not as active, influencing the structures to be kind of weakened. So I guess the accident, it was quite severe. It could have been quite severe into the body because energy is already weak, body is already, not in our earth sign to be the most structural. So yeah, hopefully the impacts aren't too great. I still need to see what's gonna happen as the days go by. At the time of the accident, the moon was conjuncting Jupiter. Moon conjuncting Jupiter. Moon would have been in Gemini, conjuncting Jupiter. Okay, so the conjunction. Okay. Resilience is what's coming to my mind, because again, if Jupiter is optimistic and expansive, you know what I'm saying, and the bull is charging at me, had to just be resilient, you know what I'm saying, and continue the recovery. Venus sextile Pluto. Venus sextile in Pluto. I like to say that Venus deals with our fulfillment. So fulfillment being aided by transformation. I guess this would talk about the healing process or something. Me getting better or feeling fulfilled by making certain changes, which I know I need to make. Alright, so all in all, I guess to summarize, we had a sudden unexpected event, Sun, Uranus, squaring Mercury, Uranus, physical wounds, so that's Chiron squaring Mars, Lilith squaring Mars, miscommunication, distraction, misjudgment, and a bit of miscoordination. That could be Sun, Mercury concussing Mars. Emotional reaction. Was my reaction emotional or was it logical? I just ran into the bushes and just sat down and said a prayer, thanking the Most High that I was alive. But the node in Virgo, South Node in Virgo, and even Lot and Vortex in the 8th house kind of makes it feel like it was meant to happen. You know what I mean? It was meant to happen. So I think this was fun. This was interesting just to make some correlations to some past incidents or situations. Guys, keep me in your prayers because I'm an Aquarius. We have Pluto in Aquarius for the next 20 years. Uranus just went direct, and these alignments, what I'm saying, are bringing in a bit of hard changes. Like I have ice packs on right now. Anyway, major farewell until we meet or greet again. Let me know down in the comments below if you enjoyed this video and what other type of interesting stuff you would like to see. All right, major farewell until I see you guys again.